a lot of people believe that in life it's always important to have a backup plan. But what about having a backup man? A recent survey done by onepoll.com revealed that half of women in marriages and relationships have a plan B man in mind in case their current relationship doesn't work out. And get this, the backup man is usually someone they've known for years and would drop everything to be with them.
Back by popular demand, we have everyone's favorite all-women talk show, The Real.
Can you keep it real?
I have to say that after being exposed to all the content that I use for this channel, there's really nothing more eye-opening than watching content that is made for women. Whether it's Wendy Williams openly telling a woman to commit pregnancy fraud on her husband, or Shallon Lester teaching women how to effectively abuse their boyfriends. If you want to hear some truth, then start listening to what women tell other women. But honestly, we could not possibly be in better times for this information to spread. According to Google Trends, the word simp is at an all-time high based on search data for over 16 years. And we can probably thank Ian Carter's lack of awareness on how women work for some of that. I think I can sum up that specific situation by saying, if you date a girl who does porn, then don't be surprised when you get cheated on. But despite Ian's lack of awareness, the war on simps, at least in the case of YouTube, is being won. Look at how many dislikes iDubbbz got when he stated he sees nothing wrong with his girlfriend having an OnlyFans account. Look at the PewDiePie video. Look at the Simp Nation meme on TikTok. Even the kids know what a simp is now. MGTOW is having an effect, and the way it will continue to have an effect is to expose men to how women actually work instead of continuing to allow them to believe the feminist claptrap that we were taught as children. So a big thank you to talk shows like The Real, who provide this type of content for us. Thank you for digging up a survey of 1,000 women where 50% of them admitted they have a backup simp waiting in the corner just in case her relationship doesn't work out. Please, people, do more research like this. Give us some information that we can actually use for the good of mankind. Now this time, we have a special episode of The Real where they invited a man, Tony Rock, yes, he's related to Chris Rock, to jump in on the conversation. From the episodes I've watched with male guests, they usually just parrot things that women want to hear, but I think Tony brings up an interesting point. Let's see what he has to say.
I have a friend that was with a young lady for years.
Is this friend you?
No, not me. No, not me.
Okay.
He broke up with this girl, they broke up, and within 3 months, she was married.
Right.
So that guy was there the whole time, right?
Right.
Fantastic. Do you guys want to know why so many women are able to just bounce right back into a relationship a few days after a breakup? It's because a lot of times she was already with that guy or planting seeds to be with a guy during your relationship. There's no better sign of her being unfaithful during your relationship than committing to a marriage only 3 months after a breakup. By the way, that's bad for the guys on both ends. You were either the guy who got cheated on, or you were the simp waiting around for some chick to break up with her boyfriend, only so she can do the same to you when she gets bored or thinks she can do better. But anyway, this show is about the women, so let's get back to the real part of The Real. Adrienne always has something enlightening to say. Let's let her weigh in.
I think that every woman, I always think it's usually their ex. The reason why it was my backup plan, this is terrible, people, is because it's usually the person that would hurt that current guy's feelings the most.
Oh,
but
the get back man. He'll be the get back man.
He's the one that usually he's most insecure about. Like, most men are most insecure about, like, your ex.
Yeah.
And then if that guy either dumps you, you have the backup plan, get back with your ex, and then he's like, I knew y'all was in love and talking this whole time.
But I think,
and I'll be like, yup.
Now guys, remember that Adrienne is our good Christian girl.
Isn't it crazy how no matter where we fall or what happens in life, God's reckless love always carries us, catches us, and amen.
How very Christian of you to be thinking about how you can best harm your current boyfriend by speaking romantically with an ex during your relationship. Gee, I remember when I read the Bible the time Moses came down from the mountain and told women to conspire against their partners. Apparently, adultery is not a thing in Adrienne's life.
We're having a real conversation, not a moral conversation.
I keep wondering if her husband listens to this show. He must not, because I'm sure he would have divorced her by now. I mean, I would have done it when she admitted on public television that she was recording his phone conversations. Give it time, though. They've only been married for a few years.
I think the reason reason why a lot of these women have a plan B is because they're not being treated right in their relationship. Like, a lot of the time, if a woman's looking for a plan B, it's probably because, one, she's not sure about plan A, or she's protecting herself, like Lonnie said, where, like, this isn't moving right, or, like, I don't know if he's gonna ask me to marry him. I don't know if he's cheating on me himself.
Right.
So just in case he's doing something, I low-key want to make sure I'm good over here, too.
I always say, if you're not married, multi-date.
So I had to include that last part because Lonnie talked over Adrian's closing words. But may I just point out that Lonnie, who says you should be playing multiple games, and Jeannie, who agreed with her later in the show, are both divorced. However, I digress. Not only is Adrian actively trying to damage a man for the high crime of dating her, but she assumes he's guilty of cheating just in case he is. Guilty with no evidence. Guys, if you want to learn an extremely useful skill in dealing with conflict, then never assume that people are doing things because they're out to get you. Always start out with thinking they are ignorant of the problem or a mistake was made, because assuming people are guilty right off the bat will lead you to destructive behaviors like preemptively cheating on your boyfriend just for the possibility that he is cheating on you. Or it could be something like this. I remember that I once had a manager interrogate me and then accuse me of time clock fraud because the computer said I worked more hours than I was scheduled. It turned out the company's software was bugged and it was adding the extra hours. Did she ever apologize to me? Of course not. Don't be that person. Assume the best in people unless you have actual evidence of wrongdoing. You'll turn into a more likable person by doing that.
I was just going to say that if you have a backup person, there is no way that you can be fully invested in the person that you're with because you're always thinking about that escape route. You're always thinking you got something else behind you.
Right.
Actually, that was a great point from Jeannie, and I agree with her on that. With anything in life, the reason people experience success is because they aren't sitting around thinking of their plan B when they should be solving problems with plan A. If you have something like a dream job and you install a backup plan just in case things don't work out, then every time you hit a sticking point, you're going to look towards your plan B. It only takes a handful of those before you'll quit. Instead of looking for the solution to your sticking point, you'll just give up the second things get difficult. Look at the dedication of the people who are super successful. For example, Travis Barker, the drummer for Blink-182, was so committed to being a successful musician that he tattooed himself a bunch of times so he could never be hired for a real job. That decision forced him to work through problems, and not only has he been successful in multiple bands, but he also has a successful clothing line. So yeah, Jeannie, I agree with you. Full commitment is really important. It's just too bad that you backpedal on your statements.
When I date, I actually do want to let everybody know that I'm out there and I'm just having fun so that you do you too, because I don't want to get caught slipping and I don't want to hurt anybody's feelings when I look like I had several backup plans and I'm making you feel like you're the one.
She's against the backup plan, but dates multiple guys at the same time to find the fittest male.
Yeah.
It's the strongest survive.
Yeah.
The one that likes
It's like Survivor, baby.
No.
Now listen, you can go on all the first dates you want, but if I were looking for a relationship, we had been on a series of dates, and you told me that you were dating several other guys just to have fun, then you would be dropped immediately.
I'm not sharing my girl with nobody.
Girls who are sleeping with multiple guys at the same time for fun are not relationship material. There's a word for that, and I think you guys know what it is. But we haven't even talked about online dating yet. Women can find mountains of simps that way. 50% having a backup plan seems a little low, unless that study included women who are past the wall. Generally, any woman who is attractive enough to be worth dating has other guys waiting for her in the friend zone. Let's move on, because in terms of simps, it's not just this. Women hate it when you cut down on their ability to produce new simps. Here's an example.
We all love hanging out with our girlfriends at a bar, but apparently not everyone does. According to page 6, a woman named Clementine Crawford is accusing a pricey New York City restaurant of refusing to allow women to sit alone at their bar.
What?
Clementine, who has been going to the restaurant for 4 years, claims that she recently was escorted away from the bar and was told that women can't eat there by themselves anymore.
Could you imagine?
Oh,
my God.
And when she asked why men were still allowed to sit there, the owner said they were trying to crack down on prostitutes hanging out at the bar, trying to pick up clients. Yes, ladies, we've heard of fighting for a seat at a table, but what about a seat at the bar?
Wait, so they just automatically assumed she was like
A prostitute.
And even if she was, why are you trying to throw salt in the game of a woman working?
Maybe because prostitution is illegal? And they don't want the government to close their business because women are using their bar to break the law?
That's wild rude to do to somebody.
Yeah.
And that's also profiling, which is illegal.
No, it's not. Profiling is illegal for police officers. Business owners, however, have the ability to refuse service and determine where you are allowed to be on their property. Well, to a certain extent, because feminism has eroded freedom of association. I guess that's for a different video, though. But I have a right to sit at the bar. No, you don't. You don't have the right to do anything on other people's property. The only reason that the cast members of The Real are triggered by all of this is because bars are a prime location for women to take money from simps.
Yeah, when I was single, I used to always go to the bar by myself. And I would just sit there and chat with them, say hi, and they would just buy me drinks.
Yeah. One time,
right?
years ago, when we had Patty on the show.
Just be nice.
Yeah.
That's right, you just act nice to guys at the bar and they'll give you drinks for free out of the kindness of their heart. Please, Tamara. After making that statement, you are either extremely naive, like the kind of naivety that would come from a child, or you're a liar. So we have Adrian, who is our Christian girl, and Tamara, who is our wholesome, also Christian, no sex before marriage girl. Tamara is our ideal woman, and she will still siphon money from a man while giving him nothing. They were just being nice. That's not good behavior. She knows why she's getting those drinks, and if she had any decency, she would refuse them when she has no intent to pursue their relationship with the guy. But have you ever heard of a woman doing that? Have you ever heard of a woman refusing the free stuff they get from men they have no intention of dating? I haven't. Now, I am sure that has happened at some point in the history of the world, but we all know that most women have been on free dates and have used a man's attraction to her to manipulate him into doing things for her with zero intention of returning the favor. This is why you never spend money on women or do things for women for free.
Years ago when we had Patty on the store, the millionaire matchmaker, she actually recommended that one of the tips was going to really high-end bars and sitting by yourself and letting a single man come and buy you a drink.
Yeah.
That if you sat there by yourself, you could get... So maybe that's what these women are trying to do. Maybe they're not hookers. Maybe they're just trying to meet a nice guy who can, pay for a nice drink.
If you go to a high-end bar that you can't afford, expecting a rich guy to buy you a drink because you are attractive, then you are exchanging sex for money. That's a prostitute. Actually, it's worse than a prostitute because when you pay a hooker, you are paying for the guarantee of sex. When you pay a random chick at the bar, you are paying for the possibility of sex. At least the hooker is more honest. You get what you pay for instead of paying and getting nothing. The cast members of The Real are always talking about equality, but what they are suggesting is that an unaccomplished woman's time is more valuable than the time of an accomplished man who can afford a high-class bar, because they're saying that a woman should be compensated for her time with free drinks. They want you to pay her just to say hello. I don't see them saying that a woman should pay a man for the grace of talking to him for a few minutes.
How is it her fault that just because women started coming here and let's say that is what they're doing. Let's say that is what they're doing.
Okay.
Is it their fault or is it your client's fault who continue to pick them up and take them home and pay for them?
Of course, it was only a matter of time before they started blaming the men. Remember this?
Wait,
This
so
is
they just
crazy.
automatically assumed she was like
A prostitute.
And
even if she was, why are you trying to throw salt in the game of a woman working?
So the prostitutes are good, but the Johns are bad? What about more power to him? I mean, he's just trying to get it in. Why would you stand in his way? Well, I guess that's not what this is about. The men don't matter. What is really important is that the bar is saying no to women who are by themselves, and that cuts down on those women's ability to acquire resources from a rich man while giving him nothing in return. If it wasn't about that, then she could just go eat and have a drink at a table instead of the bar. I guess the only thing that matters are her feelings. What if the bar wants to maintain a respectable image? They can't do that if they have a bunch of prostitutes running around the bar. That could kill their reputation as a high-class establishment and instead make it a dive bar, which would destroy their ability to attract clients who can afford their prices. Do you women of The Real even think about things like that? I guess not. Abusers always want to be able to destroy people's ability to create and maintain boundaries, and that's exactly what the cast members of The Real are doing. The bar has a problem that is losing them business or possibly getting them in trouble with the law, So they create a healthy boundary, and you women of the real try to destroy that by screeching sexism and empowering the criminals. Situations like this are why it's so important to teach men how women actually work. This is how MGTOW are helping men, snapping them out of the delusion that was taught to them by feminism. It makes me so glad to see younger generations of men learning to treat women like people instead of like queens. On top of that, they're even making fun of men who still engage in simp behavior. What a gift this is going to be to the world in the coming years. You all wanted to be treated equally. Well, you're about to get your wish. No more free stuff. But with that said, that will be enough for this video. So if you liked it, hit the like button, subscribe if you're new, comment and share. If you would like to support this channel, then you can do so with PayPal, Patreon, or Subscribestar. All of those links are on my channel page and in the description. Last, if you haven't checked me out on Bitchute or Facebook, you can also find those links in the description or on my channel page. Otherwise, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.